Hello, welcome to the Met Office 10-day trend. April so far has been on the chilly side and also really quite dry, and both of those trends will continue at least for the next few days and nights, with morning frosts a big feature of the weather into the weekend. However, there are some signs it might get a little warmer through next week. With dry weather, that's usually associated with high pressure, and one is sitting right across the UK at the moment. It does amble away steadily over the next couple of days. It remains controlling our weather, but as it shifts away, it does allow these weather fronts just to trickle up towards the northwest of Scotland, more particularly this one by Sunday. Now, there's a bit of uncertainty about the exact position of this weather front, which I can show you by showing you the spaghetti plot. That's where we run the computer model several times, and each of the computer model runs then plots the position of that weather front. It's useful for picking out the uncertainty in the position, and you can see that weather fronts could be across much of Scotland and Northern Ireland on Sunday, but its most likely position is just to the far northwest. But there will be some rain across the northwest, it looks like, on Sunday. It could be across just the Outer Hebrides, but also it could be further south through much of Northern Ireland and into parts of central Scotland. So that's some uncertainty for the weekend, but for the vast majority through the rest of this week and the weekend, the weather's dry and bright by day, but staying on the chilly side and particularly cold at night, with morning frosts continue to be in place through the weekend and probably beyond as well, because even into the early part of next week, high pressure is still nearby. There's that weather front. I say still a lot of uncertainty by the time we get to the early part of next week about the position of it, but it's being affected either side by high pressure, so it's kind of getting wrung out, if you like. So the weather fronts will be weakening all the time. And then the high pressure that dominates, well, that's the big question as we go through next week. But certainly high pressure is expected to be in control of our weather, as this chart shows the probabilistic pressure trend. An awful lot of red on there, red indicating that high pressure. There are the dates going forward, and as I said, a lot of red, high pressure dominating through next week. But the shape and position of that high is crucial for dictating the kind of flow we get and therefore the kind of temperatures we could see. And there's a bit more uncertainty about that, as is shown here. This is the zonal trend about whether we'll see an easterly or a westerly flow across the UK. And you can see not as strong a signal, particularly through the middle part of next week. The colour's not as strong. It becomes much more wishy-washy about whether we'll see more of an easterly flow or a westerly flow. So that's the big uncertainty about next week. But we are pretty confident that high pressure will continue to bring a lot of dry weather. And also there are signs from most of the computer models that it will slowly start to get a little bit warmer. This is the meteogram for Manchester. Again, the European model plotting the temperature trend. The smaller the disk or the nodule, the greater the certainty. So at the moment, the next few days, that red line there is the average. You can see that temperatures generally just below average, but there is a trend there to see a rise in temperatures as we go through, particularly towards the end of next week. But by then, of course, there's much more uncertainty, so the blobs are bigger. You can see that trend also in the nighttime temperatures as well. At the moment, well below the average line, but that trend upwards, albeit with increasing uncertainty as we go through next week. So the things we know about next week: high pressure is most likely to be dominating, which will again continue the dry theme. And it has been a very dry spring so far, and probably things finally at least turning a little bit warmer, with maybe less of a nighttime frost risk, especially by the end of next week. Keep up to date with the very latest from the Met Office by following us on social media.